We're here today with Mr. Nikola Popоски, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Macedonia. Mr. Popоски, thank you very much for taking the time to meet with the European Times in your busy agenda.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure.
We are at the beginning of the phase of putting together the project to bring foreign investors into Macedonia and to bring more awareness of Macedonia to the European Times readers and the European Union as a whole. So how we usually start is by asking you, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, what is the main role and main goals of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs?
As practically every other Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we are in the diplomacy business, and within our diplomatic activities I would like to underline two components. One being the political one, mainly linked to the fact that Macedonia has decided already some years ago that we want to join the European Union and North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And in this direction, practically all the reforms that we have done in order to have a fully functional democracy, a market economy, openness, integration in the internal market of the European Union have been the key challenges of what we have been doing. On that side, this being said, obviously we need to make a case for that, ensure that people have understood our messages and that decision makers in the political environment, whether it's in Brussels or in European capitals, are aware of everything that is happening in our country. On the other equally important side, I would say we have been engaged in economic promotion of Republic of Macedonia. It's one of our key priorities to strengthen our economy, increase the GDP per capita, quality of life, and in that sense getting investments into Macedonia, promoting business, trade has been one of the tasks that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been taking care of. We believe that both are actually pretty much interlinked, as the political aspirations and the guidance that we have in our view is pretty much interrelated to the economic performance that we're going to deliver, and both have been combined throughout the years. I would say that these challenges request a modern use of the tools of communication, so our diplomatic service become more digital, more related to the stakeholders, to decision makers, to people in Macedonia, all those who follow what's going on around us, and in very simple words, we are practically the face outside of Macedonia.
Okay, you've mentioned the political and diplomatic side. You have met with the Commissioner for Enlargement and European Neighbourhood Policy, Mr. Stefan Füle, in October this year, together with the Prime Minister Gruevski. In your own words, membership of the European Union is a strategic interest of the Republic of Macedonia ever since the country's independence. So what would you like to share with the European Times readers? What advancements have been made in that regard, and what is the position of Macedonia at this point?
The most important pillars of our integration are the fact that we are already part of the internal market. In technical terms, we have signed the Stabilization and Association Agreement back in 2001. We have become a candidate country to accession to the European Union since 2005, and since 2009 the European Commission is recommending to start the accession negotiations, which is the formal part of becoming a member state of the European Union. On the practical side, even more important, a range of very deep and very important reforms have been happening in the country, whether it concerns the reform of the judiciary, the package that is very popularly called rule of law within the European Union, the reforms on easiness of doing business, the effectiveness of the administration, taking care of the environment, etc. All these major chapters have been enshrined in our day-to-day work. These are, I would say, the key determinants of everything that is happening in the country. And we cannot achieve the political objective of becoming an EU member state unless we perform on each one of these separate paths.
Okay. Of course, the European Times investment report on Macedonia is supposed to be the voice of Macedonia towards the European Union and towards the goals that you're trying to achieve. Now, how important is it for you that EU, EBRD and other international funders actually have programs, they support progress of emerging economies, and how do you work with them?
The presence of all the institutions that you have mentioned is very visible in the country throughout the projects. The European Union has invested quite considerable amount of money in restructuring, helping and upgrading the number of infrastructures within the Southeast European region. In Macedonia, it has been contributing in very important capital, I would say, projects. One very visible example is the completion of the motorway section to the Greek border, the last 20 kilometers, in which a part of the funding is coming from the European Union, some 40 million out of 320 million euros for the entire section of the project are coming from the European Union. I wouldn't underestimate also the weight of European Investment Bank, of EBRD, that have been constantly helping us in electricity sector, in basic infrastructure sector, so motorways, railways. Currently we are pretty much focused on developing our south-west corridor, Corridor 8, the European one, Corridor 10 being to a certain extent already completed. We are still working on modernization of the railway network, but these are the capital projects in which we have established an interaction which is very important for us. For a small country in the middle of the Balkans, you need to have better infrastructure and better access to markets. This wouldn't have been possible unless we had the type of relationship that we have established with the European Union and all the other institutions throughout the past. We are also working together in very close cooperation with the Agency for Promotion of Investment and Exports, and together with them we have worked on sending and deploying a number of economic promoter support. So we have, let's say, had a deeper focus on everything that concerns economic promotion, because without doing that, in today's world of information spreading around quite quickly and tough competition to get the best opportunities up to the people that are making decisions for investments, the likelihood of having success is low. So we have put, let's say, our money where the mouth is, and that is precisely in that sector.
Yeah, that's great. In connection to that, the ongoing projects that you were mentioning, what projects are you planning for the future period that haven't started yet?
We will, in the future, certainly work closely on sharing capacities with a number of countries from our neighborhood. For example, as a pioneering steps, we have already made agreements with Montenegro on expanding both of our countries' diplomatic services around the world, because the objective is of today's diplomacy with the same amount of money to deliver more and more. And as you can imagine, governments all around the world have been trying to get the most of the money they're spending, of taxpayers' contributions, and diplomacy is not an exclusion out of an exception out of these rules. So we try, through an intelligent approach, sharing resources with a number of countries from the region, to have better presence and better opportunities to be present in all corners of the world. Today we cannot be satisfied by having representations in traditionally in countries where we have traditional presence. We have to be practically global. Unless we do that, there will be very weak chances to run to have a progress on the long run without major disturbances. That's our idea, and our challenge probably for the next several years. We try to open up as much as we can, because, as I said, we are already a very open economy and very well integrated in the internal market, but we have to do that even more. As a market of 2 million people, unless it's part of a much larger story, it will have difficulties to develop. For that, we are already part of the internal market of the European Union. We have free trade agreements with EFTA countries, CEFTA countries from the region, Turkey, Ukraine, which makes up to 650 million people a market of 650 million people. What we try to do is to extend the number of these free trade agreements, to liberalize also the traveling, and to get a system which will be as efficient as possible from the point of view on issuing visas, having experts and foreign investors easier to get to Macedonia, expand our network of connections. So we are trying to attract as many air companies as we can, and we are quite successful with a number of them to get direct connections to Skopje. Access is one of the key challenges, and also to increase the services that we provide abroad, whether it's consular services or services to investors or information that they will need, to make it as efficient as possible, deliver within 24 hours the most of information that they will require, and not to cause any hassle in making sure that you arrive safe and happy in Skopje. We have done tremendous efforts in the years behind us to make Macedonia an excellent place to do business. One of the indicators that we have followed is the Doing Business report that is issued annually by the World Bank, where we have managed to climb from some 96th position back in 2006, probably not a wishful position, to much better 25th position this year, and providing the best opportunity to do business within a larger European context, well ahead 20 member states of the European Union, for example, and well ahead of some of our countries in the larger surrounding. That has required a number of reforms, but in addition to that, we have tried to make sure that this business environment improves constantly. On the other aspect, once you're here, why you should invest or keep your investments up, we have tried to provide an environment where you get the best value of your money invested here. Costs that are comparable to China, for example, destination that is very close to main European markets, and very easily accessible through road, railways and ports. Our main port at the moment is the port of Thessaloniki, where practically 70–80% of all the exports and imports going in and going out of the country are getting to, but with a very good north-south corridor, motorway railway, as I said, and with a government that has a vision to invest in east-west corridors. So very good access to the market, best environment for doing business, and very comprehensive and low taxation system. We have a flat rate tax of 10%, with a number of advantages that are concerning investments in free economic zones, and also with a labor force that is rather abundant and that has the advantages of knowing languages and being quite skilled. First recommendation I would like to give is that you have to come and visit Macedonia and make sure on your own that it is definitely the best place to invest in and provides the best output from your euro or dollar invested in the country. And the best way to find out that is to come on the spot and have a look and check everything that we have been discussing or explaining in the past. The best way to get, for us, a happy investor would be to make sure that you have a very good return on investment. And we are a government that is really business oriented, and we don't want anything else but a happy investor that gets a return on investment as he has planned. And I think that we are quite successful in that. So come and test it.
Minister Popowski, thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Pleasure.